Have you ever spent hours buried in your books, highlighting, rereading, and repeating every word until your eyes blur, only to wake up the next morning and realize it's all gone? You sit at your desk, the exam paper staring back at you, and your mind feels like a blank wall. It's not that you didn't try hard enough. It's not that you're lazy. It's simply that your brain has been working in the wrong way. You see, the human brain isn't a filing cabinet that stores everything we feed it. It's a living, breathing organ designed to filter, forget, and renew. It keeps only what truly matters, what's been imprinted through action, purpose, and emotion. So when you forget something you studied the night before, your brain is not failing you. It's protecting you. It's making space for what it believes truly matters. The problem isn't effort, it's the method. In Japan, children grow up memorizing over 2,000 kanji characters, each complex, layered, and full of meaning, and they retain them for life. Not for days, not for months, for life. Why? Because their way of learning follows an entirely different rhythm. They don't chase information, they absorb it. They don't memorize, they embody. And today I want to show you how to do the same. Because the secret to remembering more isn't to work harder, it's to learn smarter, in harmony with the way your mind was designed to evolve. This is not just a method, it's a way of life. It's called Shuhari, the 3 stages of mastery. In ancient Japan, the samurai lived by it, the monks trained by it, and the masters of every art, from calligraphy to martial arts, still honor it to this day. The first stage is Shu, which means to follow. In this phase, you are the apprentice. You don't question, you practice. You repeat the basics over and over until your hands and mind move as one. You learn the form before you chase perfection. Most people stop here. They memorize but never transcend. But the Japanese never stop at Shu. They move to Ha, which means to break. Here, the mind begins to awaken. You start to question the form, to understand why it exists, to break patterns that no longer serve you. This is where true learning begins. Not in blind repetition, but in the curiosity that breaks boundaries. And then comes Ri, the final stage, to transcend. This is when knowledge is no longer something you do, it becomes who you are. The samurai no longer think about how to strike, their movement flows from instinct. The student no longer recalls formulas, they understand them like the rhythm of their own heartbeat. And this, my friends, is where mastery is born. To study less and remember more, you must move beyond memorization and reach embodiment. Because the real knowledge that stays forever isn't trapped in your books. It lives in your actions, your habits, your identity. Now let's move deeper. There is another secret hidden in the daily routines of Japanese learners: the Kuman Method and the philosophy of Kaizen. The world today teaches us to rush, to consume entire chapters, to cover everything at once, to believe that volume equals progress. But the Japanese system teaches the opposite. It says, slow down. Break your learning into smaller steps. One lesson, one topic, one problem at a time. Kuman's method works because it's built on a single truth. Your brain learns best in small, consistent doses. The more you force it, the more it rejects. But when you feed it gently, daily, patiently, it absorbs. 5 new words a day, 10 minutes of flashcards, a small review before sleep. That's how your brain transforms learning from information into memory. And this is where Kaizen enters, continuous improvement. It's not about leaps, it's about steps. Getting just 1% better every day. Think about it. If you grow 1% daily, by the end of the year, you're 37 times stronger, sharper, wiser. Kaizen is not about perfection, it's about persistence. It teaches us that even the smallest progress is sacred. You don't need massive motivation, you just need motion. When you learn this way, study stops being stressful. It becomes a natural rhythm like breathing. You no longer force your mind, you flow with it. You no longer fight your limits, you outgrow them quietly, steadily, gracefully. Then comes the next secret: Su, deep focus. In a world drowning in distractions, focus has become a forgotten art. But in Japan, it's treated as sacred. Students are trained to enter a state of complete absorption, where the mind, body, and task merge into one. This is not just concentration, it's mindfulness in motion. They don't force focus, they invite it. Through rituals, cues, and symbols that train the brain to switch into full awareness. It can be as simple as lighting a candle before study, using a specific notebook, sitting in the same place at the same time. These cues whisper to the mind, now it's time to learn. And each time you repeat them, your brain becomes conditioned to respond. Focus becomes automatic. You no longer battle distraction, you rise above it. When you practice SU, you realize that time slows down. A 1 hour study session feels infinite. You retain not just facts, but essence. You remember not just words, but meaning. This is the heart of deep learning, the kind that stays, that transforms, that becomes part of who you are. But the real power comes in the fourth secret, active recall. In the West, we often mistake learning for input, reading, highlighting, underlining, listening. But memory doesn't grow by input, it grows by output. The samurai understood this centuries ago. You don't strengthen the sword by keeping it in its sheath. You strengthen it by testing it, by using it, by putting it under resistance. The same is true for the brain. Every time you force yourself to recall something, to speak it aloud, to write it from memory, to teach it to someone else, you're sharpening your mind. You're building mental armor. It feels uncomfortable at first because your brain resists. It wants to stay safe in passive review, but that struggle is the sign of growth. That friction is the birth of mastery. So after every lesson, close your book. Test yourself. Recall every idea without looking. Write it down. Speak it. Teach it. Because the moment you pull knowledge from your mind, your brain tells itself, this is important, keep it. That's how the Japanese system imprints learning, through constant, gentle struggle, through repetition that strengthens, not drains. There's also a hidden fifth secret, reflection. In Japan, reflection is not a luxury, it's a duty. Every student, every craftsman, every monk reflects at the end of the day, not just on what they did, but on how they did it. This process, called hansei, means self-review. It's not about guilt or self-criticism, it's about awareness. When you look back on your learning, your mistakes, your small victories, your brain quietly reorganizes information, connects dots, and strengthens memory. Science now confirms what the samurai knew long ago. Reflection turns experience into wisdom. Without reflection, knowledge fades. With it, even one lesson becomes a lifetime treasure. So what happens when you bring all these secrets together? Shuhari, Kuman, Kaizen, SU, active recall, and hansei. You stop studying like a student, you start growing like a master. You no longer fight to remember, you simply can't forget, because you've trained your mind the way nature intended it to work. You learn in rhythm, you practice with presence, and you grow with patience. Imagine this. You sit down to study, and instead of anxiety, you feel peace. Instead of fear, you feel flow. You understand that learning is not about cramming, it's about creating patterns in your brain that last a lifetime. You're not just memorizing words, you're building neural roots, strong and unshakable, like ancient trees. Most people believe success comes from intensity, but the Japanese way shows us that success is born from consistency. You don't need 12 hours of study, you need 1 hour done with presence. You don't need to remember everything, you just need to deeply remember what matters. Every page you read, every idea you reflect on, every word you recall, these are not just acts of study, they are acts of transformation. They reshape your brain, your habits, and your destiny. And slowly, without even noticing, you become the kind of person who doesn't just learn fast, but remembers deeply, permanently, powerfully. So the next time you sit to study, light your candle, take a breath, and remember, your mind is not a machine, it's a garden. Water it daily with small steps. Let every word you learn sink deep like a seed. Don't rush the harvest. Mastery is not about how much you know, but how deeply you've absorbed it. As Master SHI HENG YI teaches, wisdom is not memorized, it is lived. And as you walk this path, remember, your strength lies not in how much you study, but in how you grow from it. This is your daily path to strength. If this message inspired you, take a moment to breathe, reflect, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Like this video, subscribe to Daily Path to Strength, and tell us in the comments, what lesson are you ready to master today? Because mastery doesn't begin with knowing, it begins with understanding. And the moment you choose to learn differently, your mind will never be the same again.